consistency and a firm touch on the upper wall of the vagina. Please tell me how I feel. Tell me how I taste. If you're just kind of bouncing like that. So I recommend putting your hands back. Make sure everything is super wet. Hello, my fellow Earth Angels. Thank you so much for being here and joining me today. We'll be diving into yet another juicy conversation revolving around sexuality, pleasure, healing, and I have filmed quite a few videos like this. I will have them all in the description box. Genuinely feel like it's so important to continue enriching our minds with other sources of education beyond what we learned in high school. So that is my very general disclaimer. I will have different titles in the timeline below, and I'll just be answering your questions today because I have filmed some very specific videos in the past. I just kind of wanted to answer what you were curious about. I will also be doing Pinterest hairstyles because I never do anything with my hair, and I thought that it would just be entertaining and interesting. I'm gonna be doing really simple hairstyles because I want to potentially actually do them in my real life. So the first hairstyle I'm gonna recreate is this bubble braid ponytail one. I think that that's what these bubbles are called in the hair. I love having a little tail to whip around. But the first question is, orgasm through the vagina / G-spot alone, removing stigma that it's impossible, and any tips? So most vagina Yoni owners orgasm clitorally. And I think that knowing how to pleasure yourself is such a beautiful thing. I started to dive into Tantra when I first went to Bali, and I felt really a lot of shame around clitoral orgasms because they so often talk about in Taoist lineages how the G-spot or vaginal or cervical orgasm is much deeper, it connects you directly to your heart, and it's more pleasurable, lasts longer. However, there's nothing wrong with having a clitoral orgasm and knowing what feels good to your body. So I just want to voice that initially because I was like, damn, are we not allowed to rub our clit out here? But the clit also has legs that run throughout the whole yoni and makes it engorged and juicy, and it is there for no other reason than for us to feel pleasure. So don't feel bad if you do clitorally orgasm. However, if you want to explore other kinds of orgasms, I do think that taking a break from stimulating your clit will help you to bring more awareness to the internal vaginal walls. And I recommend, if you do use a vibrator, maybe take a break from it. And when I started masturbating, I think I was like 12 or 13 years old, and I would come vaginally and I would use my fingers, I would stick things inside of myself. But when I started having sex with men, it didn't come as easily for me to climax vaginally, and so I started rubbing my clit at the same time as penetration, and that helped me to finish with men. And then I wasn't able to orgasm just through my fingers or just through penetration alone, and I did exactly what I mentioned. I kind of took a break from rubbing my clit and spent a lot of time with G-spot massagers, so I highly recommend that. You can use little crystal wands or just any kind of toy that is curved upwards and really take time to seduce yourself and breathe deeply into the sensations of that G-spot stimulation. I think a lot of us can also lose sensation inside of our vaginas if we've experienced trauma. If your partner is excited about pleasuring you, you can also invite them to finger you with their 2 fingers if they would just arch their fingers up or really focus on massaging the top wall of your vagina. I personally don't think that reverse positions are all that great for stimulating the G-spot. They're great for other things like cervical orgasms, but I would really focus on you on top facing your partner. Any position really where you're on top and you can slide up and down and back and forth will feel really good. For me, I really close my eyes and breathe deep into this sensation of immense warmth. That's kind of what an orgasm or the beginning of an orgasm feels to me, is like this internal flame that turns into a fire. So I would also say to focus on that heat that is building. Let me show you the back. Cute. I'm into it. It's so easy too. I will definitely do this. I'm going to take these little bubbles out and then just do a ponytail braid, which is super simple. The next question is, similar to the video on in-depth oral sex with women, can you make one for pleasuring men or anyone with a penis? And I kind of dove into this in my very first video. It's a form of worship, and if you think of it that way, you can really enjoy the experience for yourself. The tip of the penis is obviously the most sensitive, but it can vary from person to person what else really stimulates them. Some people really like when you stroke with your hands or stimulate their balls. I personally really love to lick the sides from the bottom to the top, and then kind of warm up to just deep throating or putting my mouth around the tip of the penis and using my hand at the same time. I feel like that is pretty basic, but it feels really good to kind of connect your fingers to your mouth and use your hands to extend your mouth in a way, and the stimulation. So just going up and down, stroking with your hands and your mouth at the same time. You can just stick your tongue out and use the top lip too to suction your partner's lingam into your mouth. And sometimes I will also just hold the balls or just be stroking the tip while sucking on their balls at the same time. That can feel really good. It really depends on what they're into. It's kind of hard to do this braid. But I think overall, just using your mouth and your hands in this jerking position with tons of lube is the most basic way to begin pleasuring your partner. You can get your fingers wet and massage their perineum and also be sucking them at the same time. Make sure everything is super wet and your hands are gentle, not holding or squeezing too hard, and your lips are suctioned and your teeth are covered by either your tongue or your lips. And explore with consent and with questions. You know, does this feel good? Do you want more of that? And also just breathe into the sensation of their lingam on your mouth, on your lips, on your tongue. And if you don't like deep throating, if you can't deep throat, there are definitely still other ways to pleasure your partner. You can just have the tip in your mouth while you're stroking it. You can just be licking all over the sides and the tip, and just put it maybe like in your cheek. That can be like really hot, just stroking them while also sliding into your cheek. Watch out for the teeth though, you kind of have to get the right angle on that one. This is the next hairstyle. We just have some braids. Something that I love to do with braids is pull it out a bit so it looks thicker, but I think this one's already pretty loose. This is how I talk about sex with my friends and the people in my life, and it's not impure, dirty, or wrong. It's so sacred, and to be good at pleasuring your partner, I think that's like such a noble thing to want to learn. Next hairstyle that I'm gonna be doing is this one with this bun and this scarf. I think that that is really cute and looks really simple. I wanted to share the sponsor of today's video, which is Lelo. As a sexual wellness brand, Lelo aims to empower and educate to remove the stigma around women and self-pleasure. Sela Cruz is a sonic clitoral massager specifically designed for sex toy beginners. It is designed to be beautiful and non-intimidating for those who have yet to discover the world of sex toys and self-pleasure. Sela Cruz offers a new way to experience foreplay, teaching you about self-love and teasing you to your full climax slowly as you listen to your body for a more intense orgasm. Sonic waves offer a gentle clitoral stimulation, allowing you to feel and enjoy the intensities without making direct contact. Cruise control automatically increases intensity when pushed against your body. For controlled and consistent pleasure every time, it feels so amazing to have a toy that literally responds to your body and to the pleasure that you're feeling. It's made with ultra smooth, premium, and body safe silicone for an ultimate sensual experience and peace of mind. It comes with 8 different pleasure settings, but make sure to try on the lowest setting first to just be safe with your body while exploring even your own pleasure, so that you can warm up to what you like and what feels good to you. Fully exploring the boundaries of your own sexual pleasure. What works for me may not work for you, so just being curious. And I personally love using this with a finger inside of me or as foreplay, or have someone else using it on me. And of course, orgasms are great for mental and physical health, from pain relief to stress. There are so many reasons to consistently give yourself orgasms. I feel like sex toys are still spoken about in hushed tones. There's still some shame or embarrassment about using sex toys, and it should be changed, because sex toys can be really empowering and invigorating, helping you to deepen into your own body and experience, as well as bridge a gap of communication with your partner. It can make things exciting and juicy again. They are here to make your sex life more fun and engaging, and that's pretty much all it's supposed to do. Thank you so much to Lalo for sponsoring this video. I feel like they really helped me to continue making this kind of content. If you would like to check them out, you can click the link in my description box. Their website is really cute and they have so many different toys that I really love and appreciate. How to keep pace with riding. My hips will freeze or feel stiff. It's hard to stick with for long. Something that has really helped me is to have something else around me that I'm holding on to, whether it's the headboard or the windowsill by the bed, or I had these curtains hanging down from my bed with these little hooks on either end to tie the curtains around, and even having that, and like there were these strings attached to it, so it was actually really hot just holding on to something on either side of the wall so that you can use your arms to hoist you up and down rather than your knees. That is really helpful. There are tons of ways to ride without having your knees off the bed and all the weight going on your knees. I feel like the only position I can think of where all the weight is going to your knees is if you're literally doing this, and that is really hard to do if you're just kind of bouncing like that. So I recommend putting your hands back too, and then having your feet on the ground and then hoisting your whole body up. That's not really going to be tiring to your knees. And I love this position, honestly, facing them or not facing them. It's like I could do this for hours because you have so much stability here. And it's also beautiful if you do that position while on top of your partner facing them, so they can really just see all of you and maybe massage you in different areas as well. Tips for lap dancing and hip mobility for riding and grinding. I would say just definitely work on hip mobility in your yoga practice or stretching daily. A wide-legged straddle will be very good, and just resting deeply in those poses for a minute to 5 minutes will help to increase your hip flexibility. So I have this scarf here. Let's see how it will do. Do you talk with your partner during the lovemaking? I do, and I haven't really in the past, but it's something that I learned about myself that I really enjoy. Dirty talk, especially from men in my experience, takes things to the next level. I think it's because I was with someone for a while who was extremely quiet and I never knew if they were enjoying the experience. So after that, I was like, please tell me how I feel. Tell me how I taste. Tell me what you're thinking, what your dirty thoughts are. I actually had really beautiful, passionate love with my partner, and the dirty talk that we were having was about seeing each other be pleasured by someone else. And it was so hot and I loved it. And it was really turning me on. And whether that actually happens in real life doesn't matter. We were just kind of playing into this fantasy. Verbally expressing what feels so good is a beautiful thing. It's great communication and it elevates the experience. This is what we're looking at. Does it look okay? Okay, I think that's it right there. That looks really cute from the back. I like it a lot. But from the front, I have basically no scarf on my head, but I'm into this. These are so easy and quick. This is what I wanted. Feel free to recreate these. It would only take like 5 minutes. The next question I wanted to answer is how to take care of yourself after having sex. I think that this is really important. Also, this is the hairstyle that I'm gonna do. It is kind of interesting. I'm just going to separate my hair into 3 different sections and then twist them and fold them into each other, and something interesting should happen. But aftercare is so important emotionally, of course. Physically, there are some things that you can do. Definitely pee after having sex if you're a Yoni owner. Sometimes if there was lube used or a toy used or just anything else inside of my Yoni, I will put a boric acid suppository inside just to keep my pH really balanced. I personally don't love using lube. If your partner is ejaculating into you, it might also be a good thing to do because sperm is a completely different pH than the inside of the yoni. For regular maintenance of my pH, I love taking Epsom salt baths. My yoni is really sensitive, basically, and so I stopped struggling with any kind of imbalances after I started regularly taking Epsom salt baths. It just fully neutralized everything. I know some people use baking soda. If they've been in a bikini for a while, they'll just do a sitz bath, I think it's called, and just put a little bit of baking soda externally and wash that off. The next question is how to squirt. So there's a lot of controversy on what squirting is, and I think that it is mixed with urine, but it's also other fluid from inside of the vagina. There's so many different arguments about if it's just pee or not. Regardless, I think that it's really hot, and I know that there is a lineage of belief that it was worshipped at one point and it has life energy, and they can also be called Amrita orgasms. In my experience, squirting comes with immense G-spot and clitoral stimulation, a good combination of both, but mostly G-spot. So doing that fingering where you're really focusing on the upper wall and just using your whole arm, really getting into it so that you can move with consistency, and a firm touch on the upper wall of the vagina will feel really good. Inside of the body, it will feel like you kind of have to pee, and at that point, stimulating the clit can make the squirt come out. That is what has worked for me. Welcoming that kind of pleasure into your body. My camera cut off, but I have attempted this one so many times and it doesn't look good. It's just not giving. It's not giving anything. So I'm gonna try this hairstyle instead. A question that I get a lot is how to have sex when you're healing sexual trauma. I think that sexual trauma responses can come up randomly too. You may think that you've healed something or you've gotten really comfortable with a partner, but you break up and you find yourself out in the world again having different kinds of sex with new people, and you feel all this fear in your body. There's never one point where we're just fully healed. There are different seasons and different situations that can trigger different responses. So just being patient with your healing, sending love to your healing instead of demonizing and casting more shame onto your experience. Like, God, why do I freeze up? Why do I feel so scared? Just being like, I love this fear. Thank you, body, for keeping me safe. I love you, and I'm listening so that I know how to make you feel more safe. And I think that being really upfront and clear with people about your trauma and what you need to work through it is really helpful. I think that you can still have sex when you're healing, and it's about knowing what you want and what makes you feel safe. So like, can we meditate before we have sex? Can we talk about our intentions? Can we go really slow? Can you make sure that you hold me for an hour after? You know, you can ask for the experience that you need, but you have to know what you need first. So that can be immensely helpful. How to mix masturbation and spirituality. And I also got questions about what Tantra is. And Tantra, there's probably many ways to describe it. I believe that it's merging the spiritual realm with the physical one, is merging your experience into one, weaving everything as part of your great spiritual dance and awakening, even if it is having a 9-to-5 job, which so many of us do. And so it doesn't end with sexuality, bringing sacred intention into the bedroom. And if you want to begin having a more spiritual connection with your partner when it comes to sex, and it's kind of a new thing for both of you, I would say to vocalize the intentions that you have in sharing your bodies with one another, sitting down, maybe in yab-yam position where you're sitting on their lap and almost praying to their body while saying your intentions. My intention is to deepen my connection with you. My intention is to help you have the orgasms that you've always wanted to have, to help fulfill your desires. My intention is to love you in every form, including physical. It's just such a beautiful way to set the container of your lovemaking, even having lovemaking goals for certain orgasms that you may want to have or things that you want to explore together, and breathing deeply into your bodies together, feeling the circuit of energy rising up your spine and back down while making love. I'm quickly going to tie the braids back here into an elastic, and that is the hairstyle. I think in the video she used thicker braids, but I didn't do that. It is really cute. If you have really thick hair, this will be helpful. I kind of have very fine hair. How to say no. This is such a good question. Like I said, I've struggled with empty consent a lot, just having it be easier to have the sex that I didn't want to have than to say no because it's uncomfortable. But being celibate really helped me with this. Anytime any guy would approach me, it would be something that I would lead with. Like, hey, I'm really open to friendship, but I'm not having sex right now whatsoever. I'm celibate, and I want to make that really clear. If you want to be in my life, we will only be friends. And I pretty much had like zero male interaction from that, but I honestly preferred it that way, and it helped me to bring that energy into my future sexual experiences. Like, I'm not losing anything by protecting myself. I'm only gaining more of me. And so it just made me really confident in my no. And I think that practicing that in other areas of your life, with obligations, with friends, and a no isn't just a no. It's a sacred yes to yourself so frequently. So I think just practicing in safe spaces, and if you can't say no, then taking a break from situations, maybe like sex, like I did, so that you can keep yourself safe. Why do I feel drained / sad after sex? I wrote in my journal like 4 years ago, the first time that I had sex and I didn't feel that weird feeling. And what I did was, right before I came, I just declared in my head, I am worthy of all this pleasure. I welcome all of this bliss. And after I came, I just felt so high and happy. I literally couldn't stop giggling and laughing, and I think I spent the whole day making love because I didn't have that weird heavy experience after. Rewriting your own belief systems and stating it the moment right before you climax or all throughout sex, I am worthy of this pleasure. I welcome these sensations. It really helps to have a lighter experience, and I do this pretty much every time that I masturbate and when I have sex with new people. It just really helps me to set the precedent for the bliss that I'm worthy of experiencing, and that feeling of ickiness has really gone away for me, because I know that the reason I was feeling it was more so the like societal shame that was internalized. It can also come up though if you feel like your body isn't being honored, or you shared energy with someone who wasn't actually aligned with you, or just had really dense energy. And so taking that information and maybe setting boundaries with them or not sleeping with them again, it's kind of situational. But if it's a constant, like it was for me, I say just declaring your orgasm as your own, as your birthright, as something that is holy will really, really help you. And I just felt so relieved that first time that I didn't feel that weird ick after. Thank you so deeply to anyone who watched this video. I'm bowing down to you for being open and curious to dive into these discussions. And thank you once again to Laylo for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check them out if you're curious. I would love to know any of the new things you've been learning about yourself and sexuality. I am just so curious. I feel like we all have such a wealth of experience that we can use to empower one another. So thank you so much. I cherish you, and until I see you next, I hope you can take some deep belly breaths and welcome all of it to rise while knowing that you are beyond it. Many blessings to you. Bye.